Hi everyone, this is Joe Shaji. Greetings for the day. Today, we Group 5 are here to present the preliminary presentation for our selected industry, the e-commerce industry. The group members are Himani, Jefson, myself Josh, Omer, Poornima Singh, and Prateek Singh. So, in this presentation, we are going to cover various topics such as the insights into the e-commerce industries, to identify the major problems which is faced by the industries, and to look into what are the different alternatives which we can suggest to resolve these problems. And after that, we would identify and implement the suggested alternatives using a two-step process, and finally to showcase what are the work in progress for the final presentation of our team.
Thank you, Josh, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm Prateek Singh. I'll provide a few insights about the e-commerce industry. E-commerce or electronic commerce is buying and selling products using digital platforms. The transaction can be between two businesses, that is B2B, or between a business and a customer, B2C, or between two customers, that is C2C. The example for B2C is Amazon, for B2B it's HubSpot.com and global sources, and for C2C it's Facebook Marketplace. As per our studies, the features that drives e-commerce industry are big data, mobile technology, online wallets and cryptocurrencies, and third-party logistics. We will save the depth of these topics for another time. Let us discuss the global trend of the industry. eMarketer.com came up with these projections in 2021, wherein they predicted that the industry will grow over 6 trillion in the year 2024. We can see that even with the world facing a pandemic situation, the industry have displayed nothing but a positive trend between 2019 to 2021. The impact of pandemic is noticeable in the graph. If we observe the red line here, we can see that percentage change in revenue falls from 27.6% to 14.3%. However, the total retail sales have increased from 18 to 19.5%. This shows that even though pandemic had slowed down the growth of the industry, the overall revenue have increased. Thank you. That's my part. Over to you, Jefson.
Hello everyone, my name is Jefson George. Today I'll be explaining the major problems faced by the industry and the alternatives suggested. The major challenges the e-commerce industry faces is supply chain crisis. The increasing demand and the problems faced by the industry in managing the inventory. Now we all know how Amazon workers have been overwhelmed by the increasing demand. Now, most of the companies have problems with their inventory because of the increasing demand. Now, the alternatives suggested are investing in tools and softwares to automate the planning and monitoring of inventory. For example, let's just say that enabling predictive analytics to forecast the demand and managing the inventory could reduce the burden when the demand is really high. And the next thing is ensuring supply is sufficient for growing demand, making sure that they have enough, they have partnership with the suppliers to make sure that the demand is taken care of. And the other thing is ensuring transparency offered by the suppliers, like and making sure that the customers have enough knowledge about where their products are coming from and the quality of the products. All of this could make sure that the industry could survive in an ever to growing marketplace. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Omer. When it comes to selecting the best alternative, we have evaluated them in terms of their cost, time, and risk perspectives. And the good outcomes colored green, model ones are yellow, and the negative ones are red. In terms of first alternative, the cost here is moderate because moderate cost is involved in setting up digital technology, so it's yellow. In terms of time, we assessed it as a high, so because automating of inventory management is a time-consuming project, so it's red. In terms of risk, the risk involved in automation is low for the firm, so it's we evaluated it as a green. In terms of second alternative, the cost here is we identified as low because identifying trends from the past data and building a predictive model to predict the future supply numbers doesn't involve extreme cost, so it's green. In terms of time, we evaluated it as a moderate because building a predictive model requires a moderate amount of time, 3 to 6 months, so it's yellow. In terms of risk, we identified as low because the risk involved in building machine learning models is low. This step wouldn't add any additional risk for Amazon. When it comes to the last alternative, the cost here is high because setting up the system for the suppliers and consumers to share information involves high cost. So we evaluated it as a red. In terms of time, this process requires to set up the system is time consuming, so we evaluated it as a red. In terms of its risk, sharing complete information can lead to conscious shopping behavior, which would in turn reduce profits for the firm. So we evaluated it as a moderate risk.
Now let's take a look at how we will implement the alternative 2 of creating a predictive model to predict the future demands based on our historical data. Our first step of predicting the possible future supply will be collecting the historical data. Here we are looking at the dataset of a leading e-commerce company, an online retail company that wants to know the customers who are going to churn, and so they can approach the customers to offer some promos. You can see the visualization from the link, Tableau link provided. We can see that most of the customers prefer to log in and use the e-commerce site from their mobile phones rather than computers. Average amount of hours spent by male and female on the website is similar. Based on the data we have collected, we can say laptop and accessories are most popular items among online shoppers with the order count of 5,671. Followed by mobile phones. Mobile phones and fashion is also very popular among online shoppers with order count of nearly 3,000 orders. We can see grocery and other items are not as popular among online shoppers based on the data we have. Let's look at payment methods. Most people prefer to choose debit cards for the payment, followed by the credit card. The other payment options such as e-wallet, UPI and cash on delivery are not such as famous as credit card and debit cards among online shoppers.
Now we will move on to the next basically, which is the second last stage of our capstone project, where we have conducted predictive analytics. So this is a work in progress for our presentation, and what we are doing here is we will be using the data of the number of orders that we've obtained in the data assignment step, which Himani just discussed, and we'll use it to build a predictive model on Python using the statistical concept of linear regression. So what we have here are the steps that we follow to build the model, and we'll be following these, so we are halfway through. So we've understood the data set and we have treated the missing values. We've defined the predictor and the response variables, which is our independent variable, and the predicted variable the response variable here would be our number of orders that we can see in the future for the e-commerce industry. And the remaining steps that are yet to be applied is we have to split the data into training and testing data, and then we have to prepare the model, and then obviously we'll have to evaluate the model and also build the visualization of the results that we obtain. So that's that, and we'll be sharing the GitHub link to the code in the final presentation, and we'll include it in the final report. Next, what we have is a layout of the work in progress for the final presentation, because we divided our preliminary presentation and final presentation, and we included our last step as part of the final presentation. The things we are left to do and the things we'll be sharing in the final presentation are listed as below. We'll obviously discuss the statistical model, the code of Python that we'll build, we'll share the inferences obtained from the model, and we'll share the link to the GitHub for the analysis. So we'll be at the last step for a final presentation, and that's an overview of our overall capstone project on industry analysis, and hoping to share more insights in the upcoming classes. Thank you so much.